E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover mentoring our youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is brought to you by the pirate himself.
Arr.
Arr. It's brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And we are so honored that on Thursdays, our show is also, I got to put it up here. Emerson, if you'd be kind enough to put up the banner, the marquee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me a second.
Yeah. Because on Thursdays, Emerson Brantley and Mr. Mike Lewis. Mike is not able to be with us today. He's not feeling well. So, Mike, if you're watching us, brother, we hope you get to feeling better real quick and wish you the best on, what you're going through there. And we know it's aggravating and all those things, but you're in our thoughts and prayers. Let me say that. But today's show, Ideas Worth Knowing, we have a complimentary. You'll see it there right there on the marquee. Your complimentary 10 books. It's a library card from Ideas Worth Knowing because, Emerson, good ideas is always worth knowing, aren't they?
They sure are. They sure are. They're even better when you get them rolling.
Yeah, when you get the clutch pushed in, you get it in gear and you're able to get some motion there, I tell you. But we're so happy, ladies and gentlemen, that you tuned in today. Emerson and I, we're going to be talking about how crowded it is around us, but yet there's plenty of room for us and our immediate family and friends and associates and all that in there.
Oh, yeah.
And
everything seems to be getting more and more crowded, and we're going to be talking about that. And for those of you who have a business, we're going to give you some real food for thought about your business. Mm-hmm. And for those of you in expanding your relationships, well, that's important too. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we can feel like, like we don't have anything special, or we don't have the edge, or we don't have, everybody else has an advantage. I mean, there are a lot of different voices that can be in our heads, Jim.
Yeah. Sometimes we feel like subconsciously, Emerson, we feel like we're not worthy, or there's something lacking that's holding us back.
If I only.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I'd only gone to this school, if I'd only taken this course, if I'd only taken that job, if I had only done this, if I'd only dated that person or married this person, or there's so many different voices that can do battle in our head. And when you look out into a world of 8 billion people, it's really easy. And both for us as individuals, but today we're going to also talk in terms of those of you who have a business or who are part of a business. Mm-hmm. and to be able to look out into the world of that many people, well, there's a real positive aspect for that one thing, for that one person, for that one characteristic, for the one advantage. And with 8 billion people, it can be magnified many, many times.
Oh yeah.
8 billion people. That's too many. That's too many people, Jim. That's too many people for anybody or any company to be able to reach everybody.
Yeah,
and
good example is
if you could reach everybody, you're not going to make the connection with everybody. Yeah. And you're not going to even want to work with everybody.
Absolutely. How would you like to get how would you like to get up in the morning? You got 8 million emails in your inbox. That's a good way of looking at that. And
it's funny. It's funny you say that, because there's actually a funny YouTube video where I was being interviewed, and one of the clients that I had worked with, most of you who have a business, you've never had so much business coming in that you just didn't know what to do with it. Am I right? In my career, I've had a lot of my clients experience having so many people coming in the door or on the phone that it was just too much for them to handle. 9 times out of 10, it's because if you've never experienced it, it's hard to believe that could ever be the problem. Oh, gee, I wish I had that problem, a lot of people will say, right? No, you don't. And but there's a great video, an interview with me, and it tells the story of how we shut down the servers and blew out the phone system. We actually had employees quit, and they had to create an entirely new side of this program. This was a vendor side program for a huge database company, and they had to create a specialized program, and they jokingly referred to it as the Emerson button. For when so many things were coming in the door that they weren't able to handle and process all the cards, credit cards, and all the different phone calls and things. We'll have to play that sometime, Jim, because there's a blooper reel at the end of it, because it was there were so many things happening in the background when we were trying to do the interview. This
what amazes me about Emerson is that I've known Emerson since 6-7 years or something like that.
At least.
And I mean, the longer I know him, this is the first time I've heard. I mean, I've heard the story about blowing out the server. I've heard that before, but not the Emerson button. And I mean, I was just thinking, man, how did they feel when they realized, oh my gosh, Emerson has just blown our system up? Did they get mad at you?
Oh, well, the person who was interviewing me, whose name was Jeremy Shapiro, he didn't. I mean, it was his company, but the company that I was working with, the customer service gal came in and had her inbox had 500 emails from people who were trying to get through to this, to get this deal, to get what we were doing. And she said, what the heck's going on? And there's actually a little clip where we put in a little side interview with her just at a restaurant that we were at, and she's telling the story. And it's like, what the heck is all of this? What happened? They said, we have a new guy working on the marketing. She said, what's his name? They said, Emerson. She said, I don't like him.
Oh man, isn't that something?
2 or 3 days to get through all of these emails from people. So,
can you imagine? Can you imagine? You got a new marketing guy, and he, just floods you down with emails like that. And what's his name? Emerson. Well, I don't like him.
I don't like him.
Make me mad. That's amazing. It really is. And for you folks out there that might think, that there's something holding you back, you are correct. And that's something holding you back is your mental vision, your outlook, your attitude.
Yeah.
Because all you got to do, and Emerson, he said it so well. Yesterday, we were on the youth program, and he talked about the serenity prayer, and it goes hand in hand with the 7 levels of truth that Mr. Bill Heinrich talks about here. Bill talks about there's only 2 emotions on planet Earth. There's fear and there's love. And when you're living in the fear side of life, you're limited to the physical. You're in the survival mode. That's where all your doubts and fears and the cancers of life that rob you of your pure energy come from. And Bill says, let it go. Things you can't change. Love it and let it go. And he says, the best way when I have a problem, how I deal with it, I said, come here, problem. I love you. Love your problem. That gives you the courage to face it. And because the other emotion, love, that's in abundance. That's all about, you're entitled. You're entitled to live a life of abundance. In fact, if I may, Emerson, I just want to read this, share this top portion right here of what Bill said.
Sure.
This, the answer to life's biggest question.
Excuse me.
Now, folks, I want you to listen to this because this is all about you. This book is for you. If you're seeking answers, solutions, and you want to find success in your life, your birthright is to enjoy love and abundance, peace, and harmony in your life. The 7 Levels of Truth, this book here by Mr. Bill Heinrich, it allows you to achieve all of this, all of these kind of results in your life. And all you have to do is quit living in a world of survival. Don't let fear enslave you. Because fear is like a cement block with a chain that's wrapped around your neck as you're trying to swim across a pool.
Yep.
That's all fear is. If you take off that chain of bondage and let it go, there's nothing can hold you back.
And there's a lot of truth to that.
And the serenity prayer, share that with them.
I learned from the same lesson in a little different perspective than the way that he's describing it there. But if you take any of the things that are holding you back in your life and you start drilling down into it, at the heart of it is a fear.
Yes.
It's right. It's like the bullseye in the center of the target, and it's a fear. Mm-hmm. And it could be a fear from when you were a child, before you even have any active memory of it. And something in your life or some things in your life instilled this sense of lack of control, of fear, of less than or whatever. And somehow you found if you did certain things that it left you alone. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years later, they're still doing those little things that when they were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years old, their little head figured out, okay, if I do this, then it'll go away. Mm-hmm. And they push away so much of the good things in life and the people in life that matter, and the decisions that might get too close to that fear. It's always that at the heart of it. Mm-hmm. And when we recognize it for ourselves and we start looking at that ourselves, then we can say, okay, I'm not 3, 4, 5 years old. That's not how I want to live my life. That's not how I want my decisions to be made. And I refuse to live in fear. Yeah. End of story.
I'd like to share a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to share a little story. Back when I had my manufacturing business, there was this new competitor who popped up on the scene, and he was taking the world by storm. I mean, he was just really, he came out of nowhere, boom, like he invented the industry that we were in. He was unscrupulous on all fronts. He cut prices because the other competitors that I had, we had a good working relationship. And, we talked about pricing and all that, how we could, maintain a decent price and serve. And, there's times because I couldn't serve everybody and they couldn't either. So we worked together, which is the prudent thing to do. We had a gentleman's type agreement, if I can use that term, which was it's a professional agreement between people who have a caring heart. This guy come on the scene. His prices are about 30% less than us. Then when I say he's unscrupulous, that's not unscrupulous, but he started sending faxes. That's back during the old fax days. Started sending faxes into all of our customers saying that he's now corporate approved and they have to buy from him. And all of this, it kind of like upset us and all that. And that fear factor grabbed me, which is natural. And thank goodness, I guess the senior in the sky knew that I needed some help because I've only got so much intelligence. But somehow or another, the feeling came over me, and I just knew, take a deep breath and relax. Everything's going to be okay. And that's what you should do in life when things are, when you feel like your back's up against the wall, or you feel like a big tsunami is going to wash you away or something. Take a deep breath and relax and say, I got this. It has no control over me.
Yep.
It really doesn't. It only has control over you if you allow it to live inside the canyons of your mind.
Yeah.
You are more worthy than that. Yeah. And Emerson, we need
stop letting all that stuff live in your head rent free. Take it out.
Now, Emerson, we need to talk a little bit about Ideas Worth Knowing. All those books that you and Mike have there at that website, ideasworthknowing.com, because there is so much.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is interviewed, and he has created about 1,000 best-selling authors.
Yes.
Mike got an inspirational idea to take the best of the best and do and Emerson, you'll have to help me out here in case I goof something up. I just moved my foot to move my kitty and kicked over the can there too. So, but Emerson and Mike was this was his brainchild. He wanted to put together a collection of books, kind of like on the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And he brought in, under business, he bring in certain topics, and there's certain there's libraries within the library there. And there's sections in there that's pertinent to your interest. And then to take it to the next level, Mike and Emerson decided they're going to set up a library card, and anybody can go to that website right there, ideasworthknowing.com.
Right.
They can, now they're updating the system, okay, but you can fill out and get your library card, and you have the prerogative to choose 10 books, any topic you want.
Yep.
Could be you and someone else. You might say, well, I want these 3. And someone say, well, I want those 4. You can get you can do that.
And he's adding more books constantly.
Yes. Yeah, he really is. It's going to be an growing online library. It's going to be a huge library. But that being said, the point being is that you can go in there and you can select a very condensed book. They're normally under 100 pages, I think. So it won't take a long time to read.
Some of the books that he'll have on there are even bigger than that. They're not necessarily all the condensed books.
Okay.
Book Sold. I don't remember how many pages it had, but it had.
What's that?
It'll be one of the books that'll be in there. We want people to have access
Mm-hmm.
Hold on just a second. Let me reach over here. I'll get a copy of it.
Okay. I stand corrected then, ladies and gentlemen, because Emerson and Mike are putting this deal together. But my point being, it's there to be a blessing to you, to help you in your hour of need. And guess what? When we say complimentary, and they say complimentary there, our sponsor, you're going to receive 10 complimentary books. That means there's no strings attached. They're not going to, they're not going to try to chase you down and try to sell you any type of lotion, potion, pill, or get you to write a book or whatever. There's no sell pitches attached to it at all. I give you my word on that. Yeah. And Emerson is back with us.
This will be one of the books sold.
Oh, yeah.
It's not one of the mini. It's not a mini book.
No.
103 pages. Okay.
103 pages, huh? Okay.
So it's not a mini book. I imagine this one will be. I think you might even be in this one, Jim.
I think I am in that one.
I'm looking. I know I am.
Yeah.
Let's just see.
Jim
Grant.
I was in that one.
Jim Grant, yeah. And this is everyone's heard of guerrilla marketing. Well, this is a good friend of ours is the person who owns guerrilla marketing, not Jay Levinson, who I knew and actually shared a stage and won awards with him. But this has, I don't know, 15 or 20.
Yeah. In fact, we went down to Orlando and we were invited. That's where I initially met Mike.
Yes.
That's where I met Mike initially. That was, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. And I got Emerson invited me down there to speak on stage. 2018. There we go. Yeah. I'm no more than 5 years old off on my, just depends on how long I've been on, how far back it was in the rearview mirror. I might be 5 years off, but usually not more than 1 or 2. But, you
were there and Dandy Don was there too.
Oh, yeah. Dandy Don McGrath, my friend. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Talk about a wonderful guy. Yeah. And Dandy Don is the gentleman while you're looking for something there. I just want to mention very quickly about the 6-minute webinar. If you go to the 6-minute webinar, that website right there, Dandy Don McGrath, he created an app called ScriptPal. Now, don't go searching for ScriptPal on Google Play or any other app store because it's not there. The 6-minute webinar, folks, I'm part of 6-minute webinar, one of the owners. That's belongs to us. But what ScriptPal does, and Emerson has taken the 6-minute webinar, it walks you through and it asks you specific point blank questions. Because the answers are going to be bullet points, not paragraphs. Because so many times we all have a tendency because we know, we believe, we want to share, and we give people too much information. And when the people are trying to intake it into their mind, it's kind of like we're trying to push a 55-gallon drum of oil through a straw.
I've been people go as anybody else because you get on a roll and it's like you think I want to add this, I want to add that. Oh, they got to get this. Oh, I don't want to miss this one.
Oh yeah. And by the way, we also have this. But see, that's the beauty of it. And I want you to just visit there if you like information on the 6-minute webinar. If you would like, as a gift from Emerson, Mike, and me, as our gift, if you would like to have your very own 6-minute webinar, a complimentary 6-minute webinar, yours free. You'll have it in your computer in a file that you can print. It'll come in on a Google spreadsheet and also in a Word document or whatever it might be there. But I think it's a PDF. Excuse me. But anyway,
PDF.
Yeah, go to I should know since I'm part owner of the company.
Well, and good help, hard to find. Somebody who speaks from stages, which I've done. I have no idea how many hundreds of times. At conferences or at companies, where you I've gone in as a consultant and done classes in companies, or had companies who sent people in, like the class that Jim went to, and gave them the insights they needed on marketing. You might just have a Thursday morning staff meeting.
Yeah.
And you're being asked to talk about this program that you've been asked to work with. Bring us up to speed on where everything's at. And a lot of times that can become an overwhelming thing if you're not speaking all the time.
Yeah.
In groups. What the 6-minute webinar does is it lets you just go through and ask the questions, you give the answers, and then it gives you basically, here it is. Here's what you need to say in the order you need to say it, and then
how you need to say it. Yeah, it's really amazing. It truly, truly is. In fact, I use the 6-minute webinar. If you're going to write a book, you can use a 6-minute webinar as a basic outline. Okay. And of course, we're going to talk.
If you need to do a PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And anything like that. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. And let's talk about something. Everybody has a book in them.
Yes.
And, I've got 2 or 3. I've got 3 books that I have written that are not finished. And, we got
to fix that, Jim.
I tell you, sometimes, folks, I think I'm beyond fixing. I think the repair kit for me has been, long ago. We don't carry that repair kit anymore. But yeah, you're right.
Mike has it down to where in roughly an hour interview.
That's where I'm going with this here. That's where I'm going.
He'll have what you need for your book.
Yeah, just in my case, I wanted to write a book, and I did it in my spare time at night, in the evening when my wife is watching her shows, and I'm not really because there's some shows that she likes, I don't, so that's fine. But I'm sitting in there, and I'm in my own little world, and I'm really enjoying it. But I wasn't able to finish it because every now and then you get to the point where you just can't finish it, or you can't get your thoughts right, or the information you want to put down is not flowing. And Mike Lewis came up with an absolutely 110% I love program.
Yep.
And what he does, it doesn't matter if it's on Skype or Zoom or whatever, you have a one-on-one conversation with Mike. And this is just like sitting down with a buddy, having a cup of coffee. And, it's just a beautiful setting. It's very relaxed. And Mike knows the questions to ask you because he's got over 1,000 best-selling authors. I mean, hello. Yeah, I think it's fair to say, you could say, yeah, this guy's got a little bit of experience, to put it mildly. But Mike has the ability to ask you the questions, to be able to draw out the information that you want to share. It's recorded. So therefore, you don't have to worry about typing. You just let the information flow, because we all know our minds flow faster than our fingers can type. That is, if you're in my league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
many times when I get ready to get an idea and I want to type something down, I go, okay, what was that again now? I got to do a rewind in my mind, But and Emerson,
he'll take that, turn it into a transcript, go through, have it professionally edited, and voila, you have
a book,
manuscript for your book. Yeah.
Yes.
I know people who have spent 7 and 8 years writing a book. The idea that in roughly an hour, just by talking it out, you can have that book.
Yeah.
And for some of you, for your business, having a book is the very best business card you can have. Leaving a book with somebody, having a book that you're able to give to a radio or TV station or a reporter, being able to have a book that you're able to give to a new prospect or a new client that establishes you as the expert that they're looking for, that they need to be talking with.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of it is a personal book. Who's going to tell the story of the great women in your family if you don't? What will your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren know about you?
Gosh.
How are Emerson, they going to understand the history of your family? Our Jim lives just hit a town, or part of a town where literally the state of Texas was founded. Well, telling that story is important.
Yes.
It's important. And having that story, maybe in this case, coming from several different perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
So there's so many ways that a book is able to just blow the doors off of a lot of the things that can seem to hold back in business or in our personal life or in just letting the history be known.
Oh, yeah, because when I started my business, I used to joke about it, but it was true. I started it with the big three, me, myself, and I, which means I was a real sole proprietor, a real solo entrepreneur. Yeah. And the other thing that I joked about, which was also true, I got up early and I worked late every day. I worked on weekends and the pay was the same all the way through because you become a slave to your business. Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of people in my family and friends, they never knew what I went through. And if I could share one personal thing that I'm proud of, even though it cost me a lot of business. I had a reputation for being a straight shooter. Everybody knew it.
Still does.
I walked in one time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you true. I called on a fleet manager. He says, I know all about your reputation. You got great products. You got great service. He says, when I call you and give you an invoice for he was over several locations. He said, when I call and give you an order, I want you to make it for 10% extra. And the 10% extra, I want in cash. And if I'm not here, put your name on an envelope, slide it inside this drawer right here when you come in. And I looked at him and I just said, well, sir, to tell you the truth, I'm not set up like that. And he picked up my card, handed it back to me and smiled and says, have a nice day. So I tell people I got fired before I got hired on that job. But this same individual, about 5 or 6 years later, I was at his location and I saw something that was illegal. I'm just going to say that. And I was trying to get out of there without being seen because I knew that I'm a credible witness because of my reputation. And he saw me. And what he did, he made up some lies about me. He blackballed me with his friends in the corporate offices. And I got fired and lost a big account because of that. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm glad I lost it because I could not afford it to have that and sleep good at night because of my morals, my values, and ethics. Yeah.
Ultimately, at night, when you're all alone, lights are out, or you're in bed next to your spouse, partner, you
got to live with yourself.
You're in your space. Your head doesn't just shut down. And being able, some people wouldn't have a problem with that. I had a similar experience, Jim. I was the way back in the day. I was a new car manager at a dealership.
Oh yeah. Listen, folks.
And I had a radio guy come along and want me to buy his radios. I said we order them from the factory because the factory has the full warranty on it. He said, well, how much do you pay for it? I said, it doesn't matter. I said, it's a better deal. It's all on the full. He said, well, he said, I've got this one. And it had all the bells and whistles. And he said, and I have this model here. I said, well, okay, how much are they? He said, well, he said, you could have this one for, I don't remember. I'm just going to pull a figure out of the air, Jim. You can have it for $129, or you can have it for $199. The guy over here at this other dealership, he pays $279 for them. What do you want to pay?
What? That sounds nutsy.
It took me a minute.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, yeah, he puts them in 50 cars a month. And that was when it clicked. The manager of that dealership was putting in 50 aftermarket radios a month, making $100 a piece on them under the table.
Yeah.
And I swore at him, Jim. I'm not going to say exactly how I said it, but I told him to get out and not to come back.
Yeah.
And I lost a job one time. A guy interviewed me and he said, Brantley, you got a reputation. We don't need to talk anymore. I said, what? He said, no, don't get your ankles up, boy. He said, you have a reputation for being a straight arrow. For being a straight arrow for being honest.
Yeah.
And he said, honestly, he said, I can't afford you. He said, I know I can pay a guy $20,000. He might steal 80 from me a year, but. And I looked at it. I can't even begin to describe. My brain doesn't even think that way. A lot of people, there are people out there whose brains think that way, Jim. And it is what it is. But for you as a viewer, you can do more, you can make more, you can live better, and it is easier, and you don't have to be always doing things behind the corners and under the covers. Yeah, it's like you can just be straight up, be real, and what goes around really does come around.
Amen. And I gotta say this. I mean, I just gotta say this because, growing up, my mom and dad, especially my mother, always told me that you're known by the company that you keep. And that's a principle in life that never goes out of style. Sure. Because whether I'm going to be 75 in August, and I'm definitely known by the company I keep today. Now, my point being in saying all this, if you are, I'm just going to say it, please don't be cheap enough to prostitute out for money your morals, your values, and your ethics as a human being. Because once you do, the only people you're going to attract are people that you better watch. In other words, you better sleep, as my dad used to say, you better sleep with one eye open so you don't wake up broke in the morning.
Or as I like to say, when you shake their hands, you better count your fingers when you take your hand away.
Isn't that the truth?
And there are people I know, people I've worked with, and speaking, being involved in literally a couple of thousand events over the years and speaking, and there are people that when I see them walk in the room, I feel like I need a shower.
Yeah.
I went to I'm not going to be that person. And I went to a trade don't need to be that person.
Yeah. I went to a trade show one time, and there was one guy, he was in the industry, and he would change company names about every other week to keep from getting caught. Because he traveled all over, and he goes there. And we're all walking around. We got our names on us, our business, name there and everything. And everybody, hey, Jim, I never have met you before. It was nice meeting you. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say this, I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I saw this individual there he did have one of his business. He might have had a whole list of business names. I don't know, but he had some kind of a business name there in his name. But he was not out walking the floor meeting customers. He was sitting off in a side room, not a regular room, but a side room. It looks like a place we just store extra chairs and stuff in. He was sitting there in the dark talking to a guy, and he was wearing sunglasses. What does that say about his body language? Think about that. And yet, whenever you're like Emerson and myself, you don't play games. You don't, and that's a good way to look at it. You don't prostitute out your soul, your morals, your values and ethics for money. We know a lot of people in, let's say, high-profile positions in life. That's what they do. They're for sale.
Well, it may seem like that's an easy path, It's an easy path to take advantage of something like that. But at the end of the day, it's not an easy path.
No.
It's a path that creates an awful lot more problems and
yes.
heartaches and everything. Look, folks, I was in business funding for a number of years. And one of the first rules that we learned is, because most businesses, if I talk to you, if you have a business, most business owners are always interested in finding out about if there's some business funding to expand your business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Whether or not you're in the market to do it, and I'm not in that business anymore. But well, here's one of the things. If you need the money in your business, most people have experienced it can be challenging. Going to the bank, talking to investors, it's like it can be challenging. So it's a very difficult thing to understand that there is more money than there are deals. I'm going to say that again. There is more money than there are deals. The people who have money will tell you they're covered over with people who want the money. Okay. There are
gimme.
There's a lot more money out there than there are deals, though. And when you get your head kind of adjusted to that idea, it changes your perspective. And Jim, one of the great things, now my wife rolls her eyes when I use this phrase, but this phrase is one of those foundational phrases to me, or truths to me.
Okay.
And that is, your perspective is your reality. Your perspective, how you see the world. Going back to some of the stuff that Jim and I were talking about earlier about that fear and about how that adjusts things and makes us do things or make decisions not to do things or whatever. But your perspective is your reality.
That is so true. That is so true, because
you think everything's horrible and terrible and rotten and against you. You know what? That will be your reality. If you believe that there's an ocean out there and that there is a lot more business out there than anybody could ever deal with, that what this means is that you have endless possibilities in your life, that's what your reality will be.
Oh, yeah. $8 billion. Emerson.
That is the foundational truth to me.
Yeah, because, Emerson, as you're saying that, I've read it several times, and I had to put up that marquee there, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, because whatever you think, because your mind can't tell the difference if you're planting corn, if you're planting a poison.
That's right.
It's going to produce a plant, whatever you plant, whatever you sow.
That's
whatever
why when
you think
dream,
up here.
That's why when you dream, you can wake up in a cold sweat. Your subconscious doesn't know it's real or not real.
That's right. Yeah.
What's in your head becomes the reality.
Oh, yeah. Because your subconscious mind, whatever you believe, it will not let you fail. You need to lock on to that. Listen to this is a YouTube video by Mr. Earl Nightingale. It's about 37 or 39 minutes long. It's an MP3. It's just got his picture there. There's no movie to it. but just lay down, put your earphones on, and listen to Earl Nightingale talk about the strangest secret. You can change your world. And let's go back full circle here a little bit to what Mike and you have been doing. Mike's inspiration was to create a library,
yes,
to share information to bless others in their hour of need. That's what the idea is worth knowing. That's what that was the foundation. That was the cornerstone, wasn't it?
Yep. He had this whole library of books, and some people put their books on Amazon and don't ever do anything with them, or they hand them out when they speak, or they send them off to a radio station if they're going to do an interview. But he basically, as the publisher, had permission to be able to make them available. So what he decided to do, and publishers do this with a book anyway. When a book is written, the publisher will have initial readers going through the book anyway. That's how the publishing business works. And so he basically had permission. He asked for the permission to put it out there. Well, these are primarily books on business principles, business ideas, motivational things like that. Well, if you have a business and you have a book about you and the business, it's not going to hurt your business any if somebody gives a copy of that book to somebody, right? So it was an easy sell for his authors that he was going to distribute more of their books, basically. Okay, so that's it all. One glove washes the other. It's a win-win-win-win-win all the way around. That's why he does it. That's how he does it. He's got this library of authors, and there's some massively good information there. I have several books that either have chapters that I've written or books that I've written that he will have in the library. But I'm one of 1,000 or 1,500 best-selling authors that he'll have represented in there, as he's adding these books progressively into the library. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. Instead of going and spending $20 or $30, or if it's a Kindle book, maybe it'd be $10, whatever, you can actually go through and pick and choose and find the things that matter the most to you, and have that information, that knowledge from people who have done the kinds of things are overcome the kinds of challenges and things that you may be looking at and dealing with and struggling with. And Jim, I got to add in here, especially for entrepreneurs, because we're talking to people. You may work in a corporation or you may own a corporation, but especially for the entrepreneurs. And I'm using corporation there as a big company versus a small one. Okay. You might be an entrepreneur and have a corporation, but especially for your entrepreneurs and your solopreneurs, those of you who work from home and things like that, it can be a lonely place to be.
Oh yeah.
And it's very difficult to get the level of interaction that you can trust. That's not going and telling your competitor stuff about your company you don't want them to know, kind of thing. But be able to get that level of information and have it at your fingertips.
Oh, Emerson, you're hitting the nail on the head there, because when I talked earlier about me being in business, the big three, me, myself, and I, and all that stuff, folks.
That's a lonely place.
I had no one to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You're like a person on an island. If you make a good decision, you'll eat supper tonight. If you don't, you're not going to eat supper tonight. And these books that Emerson is talking about, they're complimentary, that you can get 10 of with no strings attached, and ideas worth knowing. My. Think how much value that would have given me, how much comfort that could have given me in my hour of need when I had questions on trying to figure something out and I didn't have anybody to turn to. I really didn't, because number one, no one understood my business like I did. And, give you a prime example. This is a classic example. Some of the customers I did business with, they're big companies. They're 500, 100 companies, Fortune 100, 500 companies. And they may take 60, maybe 90 days to pay an invoice.
Sure. That's their standard practice.
Yes.
They float the money. And
yeah.
Those of you who don't understand the term float,
mm-hmm.
when money is sitting somewhere and earning interest,
yes,
it's a profit center for them not to make that payment today, but to wait 30, 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
They're floating that money and making another profit center.
Yeah. It's 60 to 90 days was the standard.
That's normal. Yeah.
Even with Alcoa, I was a preferred, not an approved, but a preferred vendor of Alcoa. And they tell you right up front that, after the work has been completed and it's signed off and invoices entered into the system on the 60th day, you will receive a check. Yep. And the reason they do that is because of unscrupulous business people who did not pay their subcontractors. So if the subcontractors complained to Alcoa, work didn't get done. Hey, we haven't cut the check yet. So, hey, let's make sure everybody gets paid, because Alcoa was a straight up company. Yeah. But my point being,
they're also making money on that money sitting there.
Oh yeah. But my point being, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, here I am. I'm investing in a Fortune 100 company by keeping them supplied, and I'm not getting a penny's worth of interest, and I got to pay my bills. And I'm thinking, and so I went and talked to someone that had all this knowledge that didn't know anything about my business. This is my point. When I say I had no one to talk to, this is very easy to understand. I explained to him what my situation was. I says, I can get 45 days from my suppliers, but I got to pay my bills, and I can't afford to borrow money to pay my bills to keep a Fortune 100 company supplied. That's stupid. That's suicide. He said, well, there's the A-team. The A-team's got the answer. That happens every show, the A-team. That's a very important call when he gets that, because that's a very special person in his life. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what that financial guy told me? He didn't understand that these big companies, their purchasing agents just give you a purchase order. That's all they got. Well, I would tell the people when they place an order, I got to have a credit card, or they can't give you something they don't have. Yep. Well, I just tell them this is my standard, and this is the way I run my business. That's what I was talking about, not having anyone that understood the way my world turned. And if you're there, I promise you, and I give you my word, you go to ideasworthknowing.com. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you live in India. I don't care if you live in Pakistan. I don't care if you watch our show in Ukraine, Russia, Japan, wherever.
Canada,
the principles
Australia.
Are the same.
Yep. Canada, Australia.
Yeah. Even the United States. We got 5 or 6 people watch us here in the United States. But sincerely, I promise you, if you go there and search.
Or even if you live in a whole nother country, like Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. Or some other planet like Jupiter. But anyway, sincerely, let's get focused here 1 second. We got about out of time. Our purpose is for you to go there, find information that is pertinent to you, and then I encourage you to reach out to that person and make that connection and say, I read your book. I like what you said. I'd like to have a conversation with you. Start building rapport. Start associating yourself with the people in your life that can be a blessing to you. And you can also look for ways to be a blessing to them. And the people who rob you of your health, your happiness, and your energy, love them and let them go.
And you don't have to, if you go in and you don't have to go in and immediately get your 10 books if you don't want. No. If you don't find some that are exactly what you're looking for, again, come back in a month.
Yeah, Mike's adding some more because Mike right now is under the weather.
Every month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so
and
you can always
no time limit.
Mike fact, I'm going to put his email in here. If there's a particular thing that you're looking for, a topic that you're looking for, or something like that, you can always email Mike and say, listen, do you have any books that you could add to the library having to do with just-in-time processing, or having to do with the best entity structure? Should I go with a C Corp or an S Corp? Or do you have any books on things like that? And if he does, they may get moved to the top of the list.
Yeah, you see Mike's email right there. It's Mike at ideasworthknowing.com.
Yep.
Reach out to Mike. He's a heck of a nice guy. He's just a wonderful person. And if you have a question, like Emerson said, about any particular topic that you'd like to know more about, if Mike has an author, he will get it to you. If he doesn't, he knows people that he can refer you to, because he's going to help you. He's going to help you. Mike is that kind of a guy. And I'm very, very honored that Mike and Emerson wanted to come to Little Old Me, my TV show, to be able to select my show to be able to broadcast the Ideas Worth Knowing every Thursday. I'm very, very honored with that, because not only for the honor of them wanting to choose me, but for the honor of them wanting to work with me. And that's an honor when the right kind of people want to work with you. And Emerson, our time is gone, brother. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I hope that everybody is, if you know people who you feel like this show or any of these shows that Jim shows in the beginning there would help, refer them to them. Tell them to come watch.
Amen.
He's on every day.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone today. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure and love yourself first, then you can love others. And please, 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 please always, take care of yourself and share this show with others. And sincerely hope, Emerson and we sincerely hope that you and your family are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.